Hello and welcome to this episode of the Music City Mindset. Music City Mindset is located under the Nashville Fit Magazine Network. And I'd like to take this time to say what an honor and a privilege it is to be under their network. Their network is growing. In case you haven't noticed, Nashville Fit Magazine has been expanding to absorb the Chattanooga city as well. So our reach is growing. The audience is growing. So if you're new here, welcome. If you want to go back and watch all of this before the previous episodes, then you can go on any of the platforms where you watch or listen to any podcast and go to Nashville Fit Magazine and then scroll down until you see my face. That brings us to today. Today is going to be a damn good episode. Those of you that are following along on our YouTube, don't adjust the dials on your screen, even though you don't really have to do that anymore. But that is not Dion. Dion had a prior engagement conflict, and as they say, the show must go on. So filling in as my co-host today, another Nashville native has to be owner of Board and Brush in Hendersonville, Tennessee, best freestyle rapper I've ever met, for whatever that's saying. My best friend for almost 30 years, Evan Butler.
God, that felt good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Best intro ever.
Yeah, thank you. Evan, we're finally in some microphones again.
Yeah,
Feels good. How
does.
are you?
I'm good.
Let's use this as a shameless plug. Board and Brush, talk about it. What is it? Where is it?
I'm a sculpture artist. My wife and me both own Board and Brush. She is a master potter. She is a pottery extraordinaire. It's a place to come do DIY. You get out some hammers, some different stuff. Beat your wood and distress it, and and just make some art. It's a place where BYOB, bring your own drink, and just have some fun with us. We'll put on some music, we'll dance, we'll make some art. We'll do it big.
It's a BYOW, right? Yeah. Bring your own wood.
Yeah.
Oh, they provide the wood.
Okay.
They've got wood.
Oh, we got wood. Yeah.
What kind of people would be interested in that?
Well, we do a little bit of everything. So we do mostly boards that go on the wall that, are customized, specialized. If you go on our website, boardandbrushhendersonville.com, there's 1,000 different options. If you wanted to outfit your Airbnb to your bar, to your house, to your baby's room, if you want a doormat, we do glass etching also, so you can get, bourbon glasses and a charcuterie board or wine glasses, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, so that'd be like date night, big groups, bachelorettes.
Absolutely. Tons of bachelorettes, lots of date nights,
Shout out AKAs.
Yeah, shout out to AKAs.
Last thing for you. I've been on this podcast for a little bit. It's kind of talking about some of what I've gone through growing up, and how sometimes I'm still astonished that I'm here. You were with me for almost 3 decades of that. What is success to you, and did you think you would even get to where you are now?
No, I'm much like you. Of course, we were kind of, attached at the hip in a way, but success for me right now is mind-blowing because, first of all, just being alive is crazy to me. I didn't expect to be here. At times didn't want to be here. And all the visions, all the dreams, I'm a dreamer. Blake's a dreamer. I think anybody that ends up on this podcast is a dreamer. And along the way, I could have never imagined the dream being what it is today. Life being as beautiful as it is. Not to mention that, the bad days, the bad things, I am just so grateful to be here for those even. That instead of it being a bump in the road or a pitfall or a bottom or any of that, it's I'm just grateful, to be here, much less for a bad day. And then when the good days come, it's like the right scratch off ticket,
I think it's always interesting to hear people's different views of success. And a lot of that has to do with what you've been through at your darkest times as well. For me, it's more about, going out to eat and not having to check that account or cross the fingers while they're running the card. Once I got to that, it was like, shit, I made it, dog.
Right.
Run it. Put another on there.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's really cool that we're still here doing it and doing it together now today. That brings us to the guest. You ready?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. This man on this couch with me today, he is a St. Louis legend. He was a front man for his band Loser's Luck that ended up on the Warped Tour selling 15,000 records. He's performed alongside people like Gavin DeGraw. Ever heard of him? Chingy, Newfound Glory. Since moving to Nashville, he's been voted the best DJ 8 times.
We need to give it up for that.
He's been on tour with Dierks Bentley. He's grandma's baby boy. DJ Aydamn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, dude. Welcome. This has been long overdue. It's always fun to go back. Obviously, we've known each other for a long time, partied together, things like that. But I think at some point, I always knew that something like this, whether it would be listing, like actually this specifically or not, but I always knew something like this was going to end up happening, just not knowing what. So I have a lot of friends like you that it's almost fun to go back and like look at the bios, look at the resume to bring that up. Because some of that stuff like I did know at one point, but it's not like the focal point of who you are now. But so to go back and remember like what you're doing on Warped Tour and the level of artists that you've been able to be around and stuff like that was really, really exciting. And it's like a new appreciation for someone that like I never lost appreciation for. It's like falling back in love all over again. And that was really cool. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, man.
And thanks for doing your homework, man. You got it all down
there.
Well,
you made it real easy for me on Aydamn.com.
Hey.
St. Louis. What part of St. Louis did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
St. Louis City. I was a city boy, bro.
City boy.
Yeah. St. Louis City is not a place to go. It's very dangerous. We still carry the #1 murder capital of the world for over 20 years. So if it's dark out there, make sure you're not alone. Make sure that you pray often when you're there. And
don't come to a complete stop.
Yeah, just get the pizza and get the hell out of there.
I have actually said that I've actually partied in East St. Louis before.
Okay. That was actually my first DJ gig. Was sandwiched next to 2 strip clubs. It was called the Oz, and that was my first.
So East St. Louis has its own exit.
Yeah.
When you get off the exit, the one's right there.
Yes.
Yeah. One of those was actually top 10 strip clubs in the country. Just throwing that out there.
Murder capital, top strip club.
Yeah, we got all. We got pizza.
What kind of school did you grow up in? Like diverse? Obviously, you went into punk, so I'm guessing you were kind of a little bit more seen than the ghetto we're talking about. But
my mom and stepfather at the time was so scared that I was going to be such a terrible person that they threw me in private school. You know? And,
okay. Same.
Yeah.
So
all
like,
3 of us.
Yeah. Like, no, we know you. You're not going to public school. So
did that work?
I feel like what you resist persists. So it's like, I don't want.
That's a bar.
I don't. Well, we know how to raise our children now. If we're not, you probably.
Yeah.
But
well, day by day it changes.
Yeah, but like we know what to do and what not to do, and also like I'm super grateful for that upbringing too. Because it makes me appreciate so much today.
Were you always close with your grandma? Because any videos you do with you and your grandma are just like so wholesome and heartwarming. You spoil her. You got her iPhone recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Were y'all always close, or is this like a rekindle situation?
Grandma was always there for me. She was always the one that took me in, and my mom and dad were never together, so she wasn't really obligated to, and she just out of her heart found out that actually she was adopted. And she was adopted by a Brazilian man, and her last name is supposed to be Furtado, but she ended up keeping her regular name. But she took me in, and we developed such a closeness. Like, it was like I would go to church Sunday morning, I would stay with her all Sunday day, and then she'd take me back to mom Sunday night. And Sunday Fun Day is still my favorite day, you know, like started that young when I was 6, you know, so.
That's awesome.
We're both grandma's boys. I don't know if you have any do you have any siblings?
Only child.
So he's the only child.
Oh, okay. That'll be special. Bro.
Yeah.
I'm the baby, and you know we're both big grandma's boys. We get it. Kind of that same nature of, you know, the only person that I could tell everything to, and she don't care. You know.
Yeah, and that's so sweet. And Grandma and I have gotten to that relationship where we can just be open about everything. And it's she has a very strong church, you know, like background. And she's only cursed 3 times, and I think the 3rd time was because I convinced her to say Sofa King. But like she's, you know,
That was so mean. she's so pure.
But no, she left. But yeah, she's it's cool to just, I think that's the best relationship you can have with anyone, including a family member, is just when you could fully immerse in being yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And that gives them to be themselves too. And since I bought her an iPhone, we've been like FaceTiming every day. And she's told me some wild stuff. It's so cool, like being 87, she's gone through so much.
Yeah.
You know, so like there's so much to learn, you know, like she's so wise, and she remembers a TV where it was like originally this big, but it had a magnifying glass about this big in front of it to amplify it. Like, so it was like kind of wild, but
to see the technology, to go from that to then operate in an iPhone every day.
FaceTime your grandson.
Yeah, like
You know.
shout out to her to figure that out.
I had to convince her to, I mean, she never had a computer, and like she had a flip phone, but she just didn't know how to use it still.
Yeah.
So buying her an iPhone took like, I mean, 3 full days of just showing her, like she had to write down what the icons look like and what they did. And still after that, you know, she's like, I don't know what this is. And I'm like, Grandma, just chill out. You know, just like, you just barely have to touch it, you know. And she's like, I gave her. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. She's 87 and 3 aneurysms on her heart, 2 blocked kidneys, and she lives every day like it's her last. So she's just the most motivational person in the entire world to me.
Man,
That's beautiful.
I love that. So you fell into music, and had some success pretty young. Loser's Luck. How did y'all come up with that name? What did that mean to you?
Oh man.
Because it's obviously not beginner's luck.
Yeah. St. Louis, we're always the underdogs. We're the dirt, you know.
Yeah. Dirty.
The dirty. And we had so many. I mean, we were like 16 when we came up with the band name, and the other band name was like Sour Patch Kids, and that's like a fucking candy. So like,
It's just the better sounding one.
Yeah,
The only one that wasn't taken.
But also, we had a manager that we grew up with. He was a grade above us. We were a 3-piece, and he had this way of saying our name, because like Loser's Luck is kind of hard to pronounce. Like, just it's not a free flowing thing, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be on the phone. He's like, "This is Ryan Meyer with Loser's Luck," just to like pronounce it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up doing away with that band, I think, in 2007, I think. But yeah.
So was it through the agent of like getting on Warped Tour, and what was Warped Tour like back then?
Dude.
Warped Tour before Instagram, like.
Wow.
I mean, this was even before smartphones too, you know?
Yeah.
I think it was the start of smartphones, really, iPhone, like around 2004, 2003. I'm dating myself right now. We're on 04, 05 Warped Tour. But my band was pretty successful in St. Louis, so we had like a pretty big following. And Ernie Ball, which had this side stage called the Ernie Ball stage, and it's like the battle of the bands, got a phone call from him. I remember I was working at a guitar shop, and I spent on the phone for like 2 hours. The people at the guitar store was like, "Come on, you need to go back to work." I was like, "No, you don't understand. This is my future." Right? So I talked to him, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are on for Warped Tour just for this date, but choose a bunch of your other bands, you know." So I just chose all my friends' bands and stuff. So we all played Warped Tour. But the thing was, we were only booked for one date. And so we found out that, like, oh, Chicago's the next date. That's only a 5-hour drive. Let's get there. Let's follow the buses. Let's use our same pass from St. Louis. And let's make friends. And, like, when you see the security officer, make sure you say hi, you know, like, and we can walk in and out without passes and stuff. So then we didn't have a stage at Chicago, right? And this is how we know, like, when life gives you a green light, you hit the fucking gas, right? We go to Chicago. We don't have any stage. One of my friends was in a band playing drums in St. Louis. He just moved to Chicago to start this other band called Much the Same, and they were double booked. And I was first time on a tour bus. I was trying not to freak out, right? And this chick that was the stage manager was like, "Hey, we double booked you," and I was just hanging out with the homie. He's like, "Well, they're here and they're awesome and they're from St. Louis and they're coming out with their CD today and all that stuff." And she's like, "Are you guys any good?" He's like, "Yeah, they run St. Louis." So we got to play this. I'll never forget it, man. I got like chills thinking about it. Got to play like a main stage in front of where the doors opened in Chicago. And we're just a 3-piece, and like I had 2 412 cabs on both sides. I had a 50-foot speaker cable to run to the other side of it. But we crushed that show. And once we had that validation, we were like, we can do anything. We're like unstoppable. So we used that pass to where it would fall out of the laminate, you know, and like we started making our own passes. So then like now we have 5 passes instead of 1, sneaking in between the fence and getting everyone in. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's the ups and downs. The not having a shower for 16 days is pretty gross, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have all the catering that all the other bands did. You know, we had like the $5 per diem from McDonald's that our manager let us have, you know, and it's McChicken nuggets and all that shit. But it was an incredible experience. I mean, the boys and I still talk to this day as it being like the happiest of our lives. And we didn't have shit. We didn't have anything. You know, we had ourselves, and we had that motivation to just pushing and like seeing what the limits were. And like we ended up doing the next following year because we made friends with everyone on the tour, you know. So then
you actually went on tour.
05, yeah.
Yeah, so how many cities did you play the next year?
The next year was the full schedule. So the 04 was half. It was like from St. Louis on, but then I think 05 we started in like, forget where, like Michigan or some shit, but like did all those dates.
The whole tour.
Yeah.
All because you just like snuck in.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
I made friends with
Amazing.
Sonny Moore, which is now Skrillex. You know, he was in a band called From First to Last in 04, and he was 16 years old, and I remember us saying bye, and he was crying as we were, you know, saying bye to each other. Yeah, he's still. I cannot wait to meet back up with you, Sonny, bro, because it is going to be a reunion. I cannot wait.
Oh,
That dude is a man.
yeah, I hope I'm there for that. Oh man. So one of the things that I learned, kind of digging back into you, that I don't know, I can't remember if I forgot this or just didn't know, but you kind of took the success from Warped Tour and then ended up like going off to Europe.
Okay. Yeah. So the Europe thing traveled, or the European travels were from my second band, which was called This Is Energy, and that's who opened up for Gavin DeGraw and Trevor Vassar.
Was this
and
still
Chingy.
punk?
It was more of like a refined punk. It was more of a poppy, like Jimmy Eat World, more like a radio friendly.
Yeah.
It's on Spotify. It's called This Is Energy. But that's pretty much when I first moved here to Nashville in 2011. I was like the main creator of all that music. I wrote and recorded everything in my studio, and then had it professionally recorded. But when I moved here was when I found DJing, and I kind of like put like the performance music side to the side, and I was like, went to Europe and met this maybe Angel at this house party, and he's like, "What do you do for a living?" And I was like, I'm a musician." He's like, "No, how do you pay your bills?" And I was like, I used to work at Home Depot. He's like, "Well, then that's what you do. If you wanna be a musician, a DJ, then just do that." And I found out you're either interested or committed. So once I started committing myself to DJing and just smoke as much weed as I could and stare at this controller until I figured out every knob and how to turn it, like committed myself to that craft is when I started like getting attention in Nashville and started building like a tidal wave really effect of just coming in and just finding an opportunity that really, I mean, DJing really wasn't a thing back in 2011.
No, it wasn't.
And so like I just found a niche. There was like, oh, this is cool, and I'm actually good at it, and I'm having fun. Like, let's stay on this track. Let's keep doing this.
So why, like, why did you actually move to Nashville?
To be a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
Yeah, it was literally not to become a DJ. It was like, oh, I'm riding with these people. I write these songs, and I'll write a song with someone in 2 hours. But like, when it comes to it, nothing really clicked at that time, and not a lot of follow up, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of artists here, and I'm not knocking anyone, but like, as a producer and songwriter, like, I'll make a schedule with someone, and then like sometimes people will not follow up, or they will, and then like, you know, it's something else. So, but also I was at a different point in my career then. I'm not the same writer I am now, you know.
Yeah.
So like, and I don't have the same relationships I had then. So now it's a little different in my writing and in the studio and stuff. But.
For sure, but like, I mean, our experience with that is not really singer-songwriters, but we definitely worked on Broadway at Tootsie's for years.
Yes.
And we'd see those musicians that would move from some small town, get a couple bar gigs, post on Facebook like they made it big time, and then they'd get chewed up and spit back to whatever small town they went in.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
And so, like, being here and doing it for music is not easy. It's
right.
Everyone's trying to do what you're trying to do. Where there's some, like, times that you're questioning, like, is this the right thing? Do I move back to St. Louis? Like, how hard was it? You talked about, like, your mindset shift of, like, being interested versus committed. But,
Right.
like, where was your mind in, like, really trying to anchor yourself in where, like, I'm not leaving Nashville. Like, this is where I want to be.
Well, one thing I love about, like you were saying earlier, is, like, the bad days make you appreciate the good days, you know? So it's like, you know, me moving to Nashville in 2011 and seeing a guy with a bucket and playing guitar, I'm not knocking that. You know, that's how some people get their start. That might be discouraging to some people. It might be discouraging as a DJ to play in front of a room with no people, but it doesn't matter if there's anyone there. You gotta bring the ruckus. You know, you gotta put yourself there that there's 20,000 people in front of you. You know, and just like the being committed is I think the whole process is just like, are you interested in making it as a Nashville artist? Are you committed in all these gigs to where there's light at the end of that tunnel, but you got to keep going, and instant gratification is not going to help you like fully appreciate it. You know, I like working towards something. I don't like being given something, you know. It's like if someone gives you a shirt, you're not going to fully appreciate that shirt as much as you were to pay $200 or $1,000 for it, or even a painting, you know.
Mm-hmm. Or $20 and it gets signed.
Yeah. But
this may be the hardest place to make it music sometimes.
I feel like an agreement with yourself is everything. So it's as hard as you say it is. You know, and if you fully believe that you're supposed to be here to do this, then listen to your intuition, block out those negative thoughts that, hey, it's just not happening for me right now. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. That's what you feel, do it. But if you fully feel, stop being selfish, be vulnerable, and fucking take that leap, because that's gonna be motivational to all of us, and everyone wants to see you win. You know? So
I feel like that's the best advice.
Yeah.
You could give to somebody right now that's looking and going, how do I navigate this? It's all about how you feel in your soul.
Yeah, and like my mom didn't want me to be a musician. You know, I was threatening to go to military school my whole life because I was different. And I didn't realize I was growing up, and I was like, oh, I'm like really artistic and like special. You know, this is nothing wrong with me. It's just I'm not a scholar and one to like study sheets of, you know, there's people that do that, and that's how the world goes round, but I'm not that person to like, you know,
yeah, me neither.
to reply to email, like that's the hardest thing for me. But like to mix 2 Chainz and Queen, like which is hard. Like I can probably do that, you know. Like, but you know, we all have our strong suits. But yeah, I fully believe that you can do whatever you want, and it's as hard as you say it is. Because that agreement with yourself, and the Bible says prayer is stronger with 2 people, whatever you believe, whatever. But like when you and all 3 of us get together and we agree on something, it's more powerful. You're just raising that vibration. So for it to be hard, absolutely. But also that's the fun in it, is finding the joy in the hard, in the process. Because without those 15,000 records being sold on Warped Tour, it wasn't without us waking up at 8 a.m. after we didn't sleep in a fucking 16-passenger van and hitting the lines and saying, hey, this is my band. This is what we do. We're from here. We were committed, you know? And finding the joy in the process of getting there, I think, is the whole thing.
Damn.
I know.
It's not like I didn't really know any of that about you and your story for as long as we've been friends. But it's like ever since I got up to like the level of what I'm doing in Nashville, like Aydamn's been like a staple. It's hard to go anywhere that like somebody doesn't know who you are. But like to know the struggles that it took to get to where you are as a Nashville staple is just so cool. And it's like respecting people who want the struggle, because there is growth in that.
Yeah, you gotta love these rainy days, you know, because like the sun comes out maybe tomorrow, but when it does, you're like, yes, the sun.
Yeah.
You know, so even now, you know, moving back to Nashville and like after 5 years, you know, I've had gigs here and there, but like it's just wild the change, you know, that has happened.
That's actually a great segue, because you did, you know, as you started kind of really popping off, you moved to Miami for a little bit, bounced around. I know you spent a lot of time back in St. Louis.
Yeah, for
and obviously we can talk about Dirks and all that stuff later, but like coming back to Nashville, like as a resident, and then you left. At that point, you'd been what felt like all over the world. Like, what was the thought process of like, why are you coming back to Nashville? Why is like almost Nashville like? Because I remember you did like an IG story of like, you know, Daddy's coming home.
Yeah.
Like why like
that was just personally sent to you though.
Oh, okay. But like what, like how is this home? Like why was it to come back here as opposed to like at that point in your pivot of things? It seems like you could have gone anywhere and been successful. You crushed in St. Louis. You were doing your thing down in Miami. Like, why come back here?
This is a great question, and I get this asked a lot. There's nothing better than connection and community and your friends. Like, that's what life's about. You know, we all have something, like I was saying earlier, we all have something to offer that someone else can't. And together we can do this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Together we can create a memory that we couldn't create if I was somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I fully believe that life is about love. It's about sharing your gifts and being there for the people you love. And so I find myself in a whirlpool of love that is just so not anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not anywhere else. But I can call you and we could be like, hey, let's go get some food. Mm-hmm. You know? And granted, I loved living in Miami, but like for some reason I had to leave my comfortability of knowing everyone here. That sounds, you know, full of myself, but Nashville is super small, so like Nash famous.
Yeah.
But like moving out of my comfort zone to Miami during the pandemic where I didn't know anyone was the hardest thing for me, because like I was alone and used to knowing everyone and having all my friends, and then like, oh, like let me take my talents. I'm won Best DJ 5 years in a row, #1, been on the charts for 8 years in a row, but like, who am I to stay for 6 years in a row? Let someone else have that spotlight and let me step out of my comfort zone and really challenge my arts and my comfortability, because I feel like you really blossom when you get out of your comfortability, because you're forced to be greater, you know? So coming back here really has shown me, like, and just all of my travels, leaving that comfortability is like, this is what life's about. It's not necessarily about being comfortable. It's about being with people that you love and surrounding yourself with love, because there's nothing greater than that in life. And there's so much of it here, you know.
I'm very biased, but I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Try living in Miami for 4 years.
I've never lived anywhere else, like as far as permanently. Would you say that the move from Nashville to Miami was harder than leaving St. Louis to move to Nashville?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hard. There's the word again. Was it hard?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard making the move.
Scarier.
It was, yeah, it was uneasy and it was unsettling, but also I knew it was something I needed to do at that time. You know, like when my grandma told me she had 3 aneurysms, 2 blocked kidneys, I immediately moved home. I left everything from Miami to go to St. Louis to spend a year with her. And that's what love's about. It's being there for people that you love. And now that I'm here in Nashville, like, we can create anything we want, you know. We have the people around us. I have such a great friend group here that's like I can't find anywhere else, you know. And so why I moved back here is because of the connection, the community, and love that I super didn't know I missed until I went away.
You're just such an anomaly of a person. And it's so comforting to be around like such immense positivity, even on a rainy day, literally and metaphorically. So you kind of mentioned, like, you kind of sprinkled over the fact that you were like threatened with like military school because you were different. So you pretty much have always been like this.
Yes.
I had never met anyone like you when I met you. And then working with you at Hotbox.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like on a Friday, Saturday night, we'd be raging a little bit, you know,
Just
partying.
a little.
Yeah, just a little. And then then I'd happen to see you like on Sunday and you're doing like zenned out, like yoga. Like, is that a switch that you have to flip, or is that just literally how your brain compartmentalizes going from like a rager where you're in control of things to then like leading a yoga class that is very much like inward? Is that literally like a light switch of like different versions of you, or is it very like free flowing?
That's a great question. I never even thought about that. But like, and with that being said, I feel like I show up myself wherever, no matter what, whether it's this or a yoga class or a DJ party. Like, I feel like that's lifting the vibration for everyone, you know? So like, just me being myself, again, what we were talking about earlier is us being able to be ourselves with loved ones and stuff, I think raises that vibration for other people to be themselves as well, you know? Because there's nothing wrong with going out and raging with your friends Friday, but you gotta balance that out. You gotta like sweat that shit out, and you gotta, like, you know, eat some greens, you know, like, you know, something, you know? So I mean,
I understand balance, but it feels like at one point, without getting like to know you personally, it feels like opposite ends of the spectrum to balance that out.
I mean, it's like why diets don't ever work. It's because it's just temporary, you know. Like, have a system that works for yourself. Everyone's different. People are like, oh, I only eat meat, and this works for me. Well, great, that works for you. I only eat whatever. I drink coffee. That's great. You know, this is what works for me, and I'm here to motivate and inspire.
I mean, your classes were very popular, kickboxing, yoga, all of that. Like, I mean, there was wait list for that, just like there was at, you know, Dirty Little Secret or whatever you were, like the night before. I just always thought that was interesting because it's like I felt like I could do one or the other, and to watch you thrive in both kind of scenarios was like, oh, this dude's different.
So I wanted to touch on what you said earlier with like the private school and this and that. And then I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like as an artist, you always feel like you see, like you have friends in school, different things, you fall into crowds, different circles, but you feel like artistically, at least I do, I feel like I always saw the world different, so I always felt different than I was. It wasn't until recent years that I got the Zen side of it, that like there were things readily available that took me out of that uncomfortability that made me grow. You know, like moving to Miami had to be uncomfortable, moving back had to be uncomfortable, but that seems like the only way to grow. But it's like that outlook on life, that you see things differently. Finding a way to shape that into positivity took a while for me, but do you see where I'm going?
Absolutely.
Like the journey of that.
I mean, as the learned behaviors that we have growing up, a lot of those don't serve us, you know. And as a child, as a sponge, we just take on a lot of stuff that we didn't even know that we took on, and then we bring that into our future, and then we're living our parents' life. We don't even realize that. So I think it's important to question everything that you've been taught, whether it's the Bible or whether it's dieting or whatever. Like, question everything and see what works for you. Don't be a dick, and motivate and inspire.
I love that.
I feel like this is a good stopping point for this. We're going to take a small break and hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
At Optimize You, we believe that normal is not optimal. Whether you've been dabbling in hormones or this is your first time and you want to know where to get started, we make the hormone optimization process very simple. Simply get started with comprehensive labs, and our providers will take it from there with you to review where you are right now and where you want to be to ultimately help you achieve your health and performance-related goals. So from our expertise in hormones, peptides, all the way to recovery services, we want you feeling at your optimized best so that you ultimately feel better physically, mentally, and sexually. Just like hormones playing a significant role in the overall optimization of your health, so do recovery services help your body on a cellular level. From our sensory lounge to our infrared sauna, full body red light, full body cryotherapy, cold plunge, we have a wide range of performance recovery services just for you.
And we are back. We are sitting down with the one and only Aydamn.
What's up, babies?
We covered a lot about, like, you know, more into your past, your upbringing, how you got here, what here means to you. So now we can really like kind of talk about like what you've been doing here, your first time here, and now that you've been back. It keeps coming back that like what kind of artistic person you are, see the world differently, things like that. Where, and I'm sure it's changed over the years, whether it was, you know, with the bands or what you're doing now. Like, do you go to music for inspiration for music, or do you have like a set playlist or something you go back and listen to your old stuff? There was obviously I'm biased on local artists, but Jelly Roll was on a podcast talking about how like when he's in his writing stage, he doesn't listen to any music because he doesn't want to be influenced by something. He wants it to be his and authentic. Like, and you know, just like you're talking about, like you're the diets, like that might work for him, but not for someone else. Like everyone has their own style. Like what's you're a talented writer. So where do you go for inspiration of that? And who do you pull from if you do pull from people?
This is a great question. And what I love about writing music is there's absolutely no rules. So like,
It's true.
Or art, you know, like the canvas could be the art, you know, who's to say that needs paint, you know what I'm saying? So, everyone has their different ways. I had a write in St. Louis not too long ago. And this dude was pulling from this website of samples that other people wrote and stuff. And for me, we were supposed to write and we were going to get some food before, but he's like, check out my studio. Let's get some inspiration. We can talk about this beat, and let's go eat. And he's like, how are you inspired? And so I wanted to be like, not that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be like, nah. But so we went to breakfast and the birds were chirping and there's an 80s song playing and the question circled again, what, you know, inspires you to write today? I go, bro, like right here, right now, how I'm feeling right now. Like the birds chirping outside, this Steve Winwood song, you know, like I'm here now. So like being in tune with the universe and whatever it tells me to have this melody out or whatever, like I will start. Like my last write was last week, and this was one of the best writes I've ever had, if not the best. For the first time, oh yeah, it's amazing. For the first time, she was like, you know what? Go, you do your thing. I'm gonna sit in the back and I'm gonna write lyrics and vocals. So created a song in 2 hours, and it's yeah, and it's almost fully produced, and she sang on top of it, and it's just like that motivation of being open and being tuned to be like Rick Rubin said, the best artists are the ones that are like literally like just in tune with that frequency of just getting it out, you know, because there's so many things that it's hard here, it's hard there, but no, like once you're there and you're like, this is happening for me, this is supposed to be out here, like that's when things just start to flow and come out because that's supposed to happen, you know. So for me, it's inspiration comes from this conversation, comes from me walking out the door, the weather. And I am a very highly versatile writer. I can write country music, I can write hip hop, I can write EDM, but my favorite is just literally just whatever is telling me to write this style. And I don't know if there's not like voices in my head like, hey, do this, do that, but it's like, what is telling me to put a piano in this part, and why am I doing this part? Or like, oh, that needs a guitar part. Where did that come from? Oh, this did need a guitar part. Take out the snare drum here. Oh, who's telling me to do that? Like just being in tune with that, I feel like is where you find the most inspiration. I mean, you teach classes too. Like where do you get the inspiration from, like gym videos, or are you feeling a day and you're like, hey, you know, like I feel like we should just do this today or something like it. I mean, it's a work of art. It's the same kind of process.
And I actually resonate with that because I purposely like don't take on a large personal training client roster, because I do feel like if I took on too many people, I would have to like pre-write things and almost go a little bit cookie cutter, you know, and I was sick and tired of like sitting all the time, like preparing for something. And then I come in and like, I got this hella shoulder day plan, and you're like, hey, man, my shoulder is really bugging me today. Can we do something different? And I got to go completely off script. So I kind of decided that like I do better not having a full, huge roster of a bunch of clients. And I do go off of like the feelings of that moment, what they need right now.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
You teach like I DJ. So a lot of DJs will have a pre-programmed set, playing this song, playing this song, playing this song. It's great to be ready, right? But also the 13, 14 years of me DJing, that's what's keeping me ready, because I know, like you have the set of what we can do, but like if you need to switch it up, you can do that because you're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I've got the Rolodex.
Right. So like I'm the same, man. Like I'll have like this past gig at Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks Bar, Saturday. I didn't know what to expect. It was raining, you know, it was like whatever, is on a rooftop bar, but like there was no one there when I started. And then once I started, like people stayed there and they just kept building, right? But like I could have went in with that pre-programmed set or pre-planned set and play all those, but like that wouldn't be resonating with the empty room. You got to find that person in the corner that they dance to that song, and then like play a little bit more of that, and then go up to another person and be like, hey, it's someone's birthday, what do you want to hear, you know, like, and just start building stuff like that. So I feel like the motivation is just you being there.
Well, I feel like the common theme with everything you've said is about building a connection. Is like you're literally doing it as you're DJing. It's not like this is my set. Like you're paying attention and you're like building a connection with the room. And I don't think every DJ does that.
Yeah, because it's not all about you. Like, you're here to serve in life. Like, what can you do to offer to this world to make it a better place for people? And my talent is music. So that's what I'm going to do, you know? And I could be selfish and say, oh, I'm going to play this song and, you know, no one's here and they should have promoted, you know, just like can do all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, I'm here now. What now?
I'm glad you brought this up because I saw one of your sets where there were elderly people, every age, and they were all equally jumping up and down, going nuts, the whole room. And I'm talking about I'm seeing white hair, kids, everything, and they're all in unison, jumping up and down. And almost that feeling of like, how can I play to each of these? And what's it feel like when you get a room in sync that way?
It's the greatest feeling. It's like, oh yeah, this is what life's about. Like this is like.
I don't even know if I could imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I got chills thinking about it.
I got excited watching it.
Well, it's because it's like it does take a lot of work. Like this painting here, like that horn's purple. Like who thought to make that purple? Like how do you like watch the room and figure out like, do I need to play some Waka or do I need to play some Panic at the Disco? Like
I think it's like life. It just takes taking leaps, and taking chances. And when you don't do that, you're just the norm. You're in the same rotation that everyone else is doing. So I find there's power in being vulnerable and just going with the flow and not being scared to fuck up. Because you know that you're supposed to be here doing this, not for you, but for others. But then it's for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like...
But it's because of
right.
you. Like once you've developed that name, people are showing up for you. So to be able to still have that like server's mentality
yes.
Is very humbling.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're all here. Like I said, we're all here to serve something else. Someone can write an email that I can't, and I would prefer that, but, yeah.
So I think that's a good segue because how did you and Dirks get like hooked up? Like how did that happen?
I think winning Best DJ helped, but also like just having the support of you come out, and because you can have the best DJ, but if there's no one there in the room, it doesn't fucking matter. So it's very much a community thing for me. They saw that I had a lot of great friends, like we would open up every bar. You would always show up to my gigs. Like all of my friends would show up and support. And so they're like, we want that. Like literally management was like, we always wanted a DJ and we shopped DJs, but no one clicked. But then we were in one night and we saw you and we're like, we're going to take him out on tour. And that's how that happened.
So
we love Dirks. We consider
he's the best.
We consider him a local boy. When we were at Tootsie's, he would come in and try out new songs, and that's respectable to us, as locals, as seeing the grind of like, I'm gonna come in and whether it's a good song, bad song, I'm gonna try it out and see how it goes in a dive bar.
Yeah. So the segue, what we were just kind of talking to about your ability to like read a room and how important it is for you to have a connection in that room. And that feeling you get when it's clicking and you got it. How did that translate over into doing like sold out arenas like that?
When I played sold out Madison Square Garden, which is the coolest fucking thing to say.
Yeah.
I have my in-ears in and I'll never forget. I'm not knocking sports. I just don't keep up with them, right? I appreciate the underdogs. I always, vote for them, whatever. But I'm in the heart of New York City, and I have my in-ears in, and I hear the sound guys like, hey, bro, take your in-ear out. And I was like, and I just hear boos. Like a whole stadium booing. And then the sound guy's like, yeah, man, you can't be playing a Boston song in New York. And I was playing Sweet Caroline. and so I was like, and I was like, guys, I just got word that this is a Boston Red Sox song and I'm playing it in New York. And I was like, does anyone like this song? And
I would have had no idea. I would have assumed that would have crushed.
And there is so many boos. And I was like, wow, I can like really take this in, or I can be like, oh yeah, guys, like I'm sorry I don't keep up with sports. I don't care what jersey color that you're wearing. I don't care where you're from. We're all one here, and we're here to have a fantastic night. So I'm going to play the rest of the song.
I love it.
So then there are people singing, people sang, but I transitioned out of it. Maybe like 30 more seconds or something. But like, it wasn't the rest of the song, fuck you guys. But there was a moment I'll never forget, man, just all the booze and stuff and that connection. I was like, you know what? We're all here for a show. My apologies. I wasn't aware. I didn't know what color jersey we're wearing today. But granted, we're here to have a good time. So, but I made up for it,
But there were definitely other times that the arenas crashed.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That
was a one time.
Yeah.
That was the one time that really stuck with me. But
it was still, I mean, I guess that is a connection, though.
Yeah.
I guess a connection doesn't have to be positive.
I mean, I felt like it was a positive connection because, people, in that instance, you have the ability to be yourself, you know? And so that's one of my strong suits. Like, all right, guys, sorry. My bad. We're going to have a good time regardless. Let's go. But yeah. Killing a Room. So when that was happening, I was on a B stage, which was like pretty much in the middle of the arena. So I heard all of it. But the first time Dirks put me on the main stage, because there wasn't a B stage, was in Washington. And oh man, the call and response, like it was just overwhelming, man. I have a video of it, and just people have their phones out, they're all jumping up and down. It just looks like a sea wave of like iPhones just jumping. It's amazing. But I mean, once you get in that spotlight, that's your chance to shine. You gotta fucking step up and do it, man. This is everything that you've worked towards to be at. So like, now's the time. So like, man, I'll never forget Josh, the merch guy, after the sets, when Dirks would come on, I would always talk with him. And he's like, man, I've never heard any DJ have that kind of crowd response, And he's like, I can hear it all the way back here. And it's just like, once you get them, give them the best show ever. They're there for one night. So like, whatever's going on in my life, block that shit out. And be here right now. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Be where your feet are.
Yeah, man. And so that's really helped me in being in front of 25, 30,000 people.
It's been nice to see a transition of the hype you up opener, as far as getting your energy up instead of just watching the screen do a countdown or something.
Right.
But like earlier, you talking about opening for Gavin DeGraw. Like, I was originally thinking hardcore punk, and then you said it was cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little more mom vibe. Yeah.
But
take the kids to school vibe,
Yeah. What was Chingy like?
Oh.
So I opened up for both of them with my last band, and I opened up for Chingy, who's a university about 2 hours north of St. Louis, and when he got on stage, no one knew who he was, because there's like 8 dudes. And then he got off stage and no one knew who he was. And then he introduced himself. And his real name is like Harder Beaufort or something.
What?
Yeah.
That right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Harder Beaufort, I think his real name is. But he was really cool. He was really nice. We got a picture.
Did he do his hotel song? Or
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 or 3 times.
So that must have been like brand new. No one had.
I mean, I think this was like 2000. This is kind of, because that came around like 2000. So this was around 2011, I think, is when I opened up for him.
So he's done Left DTP and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I had a friend that worked at the H&M St. Louis West County Mall, and she told me that Chingy would go in there and steal all the time. But I didn't. But
Shame on
in
you,
his
Chingy.
defense, she probably thought he was one of the other guys. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Shame on you, Chingy.
Yeah.
No,
Oh man.
he's a great dude though, man. He was really nice.
So you coming back to Nashville, as you've kind of like transitioned different types of music. You had a show recently at the Inn.
Mm-hmm.
Kick-ass show.
Thank you for being there.
Of course. You're kind of doing like a how would you even describe that? I've never seen anything like it, and so it makes it hard to even explain what I witnessed that evening. But it's like you're still playing your guitar live, but you're also DJing. Like, where is that kind of coming from? Is this like taking all parts of different chapters and putting them all into one? Like, talk a little bit about what you're doing now, and we can transition to like what's next for you.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Like, this is something that has been in my heart since I moved to Nashville in 2011. Is like, and then I started getting into DJing because I didn't want to fully let go of performance and playing guitar and singing. And it wasn't until I moved back home to St. Louis for my grandma where I didn't really have a lot to do, you know. And I was like, well, this has always been in my head, and it's like, you know, energy comes, and if you don't do it, someone else will. So it's like, this has been marinating in my head for over 10 years. So like, it's time to do this, and now's the best time. So thank you for being at that show. But like, I feel like that eventually the DJing world will, I don't know. I feel like it might be too fake, you know. It's becoming way too over processed and stuff, which is, you know, EDM is all samples and stuff. But I feel like the new wave of EDM is going to be more with real instruments. And, you know, people might be getting tired of the norm of, and I'm just saying this personally in my career, because I'm tired of the norm of DJing. I want to play guitar at the same time and like give people something. Yeah.
You should get paid twice.
Yeah, right? But, you know, like, that's always been in my mind, in the back of my mind. So now it's time to do it. And it worked out great, man. Thank you so much for being there. Like I said, you can have the best show, but if no one shows up, you know, that means the world. But this is something that I feel like is going to not only motivate other people, but, you know, just like step up my game too, you know?
Yeah. So one of the craziest things I'd seen at like a big stage level was the Ed Sheeran show at Bridgestone. He came out, he did all of his like greatest hits, but it was literally just him and his guitar on a loop pedal. But he would use like different things he could smack on and pluck, like a bop it, but his guitar, to make sounds on his loop pedal to make his songs that are on the radio. They were obviously made like with studio musicians, and he does it all by himself up there on that loop pedal. Obviously different from what you were doing, but like how is it different? I'm not a musician, so like how is what you were doing that night, and are you trying to go further into that now?
Yeah, I mean, that's completely different what I was doing, but also like not necessarily. I don't mean to say that completely different, because there'll be parts where I'll loop a guitar part with, you know, the music,
right?
But I'm playing along to tracks that I've made, and just like putting the icing on top of it and then singing on top of it too. So it's kind of like if he was to play a live version of his track and add to it. He's just creating from scratch,
right,
which is like awesome. And that's how I started my show too, is I started with a guitar part, looped another guitar part, looped it, brought it onto my board, brought this little and faded it out, and you know, do that shit. But he's doing it on just like a different, it's just a different level, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's just like a set up tent and I'm good here. Like he has it all on the one
but
thing.
To watch you like have your deck, but then the guitar backwards, like on your back,
it's hard, bro,
to go, and then you have to like hit the big swing to where the guitar is in the front and like swing it back.
That was the hardest part, was literally learning how to bring my guitar back, because there's a DJ deck here, and you go forward, it's gonna go hang, and you're like, that's the last noise you want to hear in a set. And I'm guilty of it too, you know, but that's the constant reminder, is like, oh, I'm done. Psh, put that behind me. Put the mute. Let's DJ. All right. Unmute it. Get the guitar back out. Put it back behind me. That's the hardest part.
It adds a respect level too, I think, from the fans, from your crowd, from your people. You know, we saw Rock once, and no matter how you feel about him or agree with him, to see him play every instrument as good or better than his band members, you know, and add something to the show you didn't expect,
right,
is, especially here live, I think it adds a big respect.
Well, I mean, even, and I'm not knocking it too, because my last band had live tracks that I made, but like, you go to Bridgestone and or almost any major artist these days, including EDM, they all have a pre-programmed set and they're playing the tracks.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, where'd that violin part come from? There's not even a keyboard player or anything, or like, there'll be a guitar part and the guy's not even playing guitar. You're like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like adding like Tulum, like when I played Tulum last year, I had a violin player and a saxophone player play with me when I was playing, you know, and that like just adds just a different, having that, let me step back. In the production process of writing songs, which is so highly sampled these days, or kick drum, whatever, if you add like a shaker that's like organic, or a voice, or a guitar, or just something to those fake noises, those oversampled, it gives you a little bit of more of that organicness. So I'm bringing more of that into my set. Is like, hey, let me just, all this is pre-recorded, but like, let me bring a little touch to it to make it just that much more interesting, to give that more organic feel instead of so overproduced. I think that's the future of music, really.
As someone who doesn't truly understand how to DJ, I could be an aux chord hero.
Yes.
But
that's a DJ too, though, man. Song selection.
But like, I feel like at some shows I go, even like big, like headlining EDM stuff, I'm not really aware of how much was pre-recorded and they're just push and play versus how much they're actually doing right there. And when you don't know, there's that level of like hope that this is a great performance. But to watch you, even if you did struggle and hit the guitar on something, to watch you create something in front of us.
Yes.
Like, it was almost like you took a studio and then put it like on a stage.
Yes.
Like you said, like that was it was respect, even when if it wasn't like perfect. But to watch it be created in front of you without a shadow of a doubt, if it's just pushing buttons or anything, like was really, really cool to watch.
Yeah, I feel like as like an audience member and me being in the crowd, like I like seeing a DJ take chances. I like see him actually doing it. And I hate to break everyone's dreams, but most DJ sets that are on a big level are all pre-recorded. They have a 20-minute set, and they have to be because they're all lined up with the video, with the lighting, and it's all whatever. But like there will be a 20-minute set, then they'll have their logo up, and then they'll DJ like maybe 2 songs, they'll talk to the crowd, and they'll go back to another pre-recorded 20-minute set, and then they'll do the same thing. They'll take a break, they'll play Usher and whatever, and then they'll go back into their set for the last 20 minutes. It's kind of like a ritual there in the EDM scene, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but also like you do like seeing someone perform, and as being a performer, I feel I've tried the pre-recorded set like on Dirks, and I was like, I don't have to do anything with my hands. I'm cheating these people.
You're just phoning it in.
Yeah, I'm just like faking it, and I'm like, this sucks. Like I feel like I'm shortchanging them, and that was the last time I did that.
Have you ever had any DJs come up and go, "Hey, you're making us work now"?
Yeah. Yes.
So with what you were doing with the last show I saw you at, and you're talking about the writing set and everything. So like to kind of wrap this whole show up, like what's next for Aydamn?
Well, there's a lot of new music I've been working on. I've been writing with a bunch of different artists, and I'm like steering away. I love the clubs, but like I'm almost 40 this year, and it's time for me to stop marinating on the idea of this is what could be doing and just do it. And so I'm finding myself like on this different level of doing festivals and doing just big shit around the world, not just being here, you know? Mm-hmm. And so with my new music and writing with these other artists, I'm a firm believer that this is going to be the next step in my career, just because I know this is like, it just feels good. It's supposed to happen. Things are like happening for me. You know, it's just a green light. It's just up to me to hit the gas.
When can we expect some drops happening?
That's a good question. I'm producing this chick right now. I'm writing her EP, and we're writing it together. that might come out before. But also, I have some acoustic stuff that's really beautiful and finger picking good, and some next level stuff that I didn't know I was harnessing and needed to get it out. So I'm teetering with some new names. I think Aydamn is going to stick with the EDM stuff.
Yeah.
But I will be coming out with some acoustic stuff soon. I just need to think of a name because someone copywrote and trademarked my real name, Aydamn Wayne. So
Hoping you'd buy it back.
fuck you, bro.
Damn.
He did that the day I came out with Aydamn Wayne, a song, and then he told Spotify that I was stealing his song, and then he removed my song, and I wasn't stealing his song. He was just mad that I had his name. Then I contacted the lawyer, and she said, yeah, he actually he filed for copyright the day that you released that song. And
Was it his actual name, though?
No, it's not his actual name.
He's just
Asshole.
hoping he'll get big enough to buy it from him. Or
Like, I asked him
Asshole.
if he was going to sell it, and he said, oh, so I'll figure it out.
The number's right. Yeah.
I mean, Aydamn Wayne, that's my name, and that's what people call me, and that feels good. So maybe I'll find a different lawyer, but be on the lookout for some acoustic sweetheart soul-giving music.
Love that. Love that. Well, actually, both of you, thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thanks for having
This
us.
was a
Absolutely.
damn
Thank you,
good
nice
episode.
To meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
And so, if you thought this was a damn good episode, because I know I did,
That was a damn good
Aydamn.
episode.
make sure you hit that like, follow, and subscribe. And for the love of Nashville, tune into the next one.